There's a touchy subject in the Scrum community. Is the Scrum Master accountable for the effectiveness of the Scrum team? Some people say yes, others say no, others say that it doesn't make any sense. Because if you look at the latest version of the Scrum Guide 2020, it's clearly stated that the Scrum Master is accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. They do this by enabling the Scrum team to improve its practices within the Scrum framework. Is this statement valid? Oh no, there's two important keywords here, accountability and effectiveness. Let's start by defining these two terms. First, effectiveness simply means doing the right things. Efficiency means doing things right, but effectiveness means doing the right things. Cambridge defines accountability by the fact of being responsible for what you do and able to give a satisfactory reason for it or the degree to which this happens. Now let's read the statement from the Scrum Guide 2020 again. The Scrum Master is accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. They do this by enabling the Scrum team to improve its practices within the Scrum framework. And we know that being accountable means being responsible, but in our context, responsibility is not a general term. No, it means responsible for the actual results, and the results here is effectiveness. It's said in the Scrum Guide, effectiveness, doing the right things. So in simple terms, the Scrum Master is responsible to ensure that the Scrum team do the right things. And they do this by improving their practices within the Scrum framework. So what do you think about all this? Do you feel that it's fair for the Scrum Master to be accountable, responsible for this effectiveness, to ensure that the Scrum team is doing the right things? A lot of people believe that it's not fair. Let me give you an example. Stacy is a Scrum Master supporting a single Scrum team. Stacy observed that the team has a lot of issues meeting their sprint's commitments. In the sprint planning, they commit on a sprint goal, on a list of user stories to do, but by the end of a sprint, they can't complete the sprint goal. Sometimes even 50% of what they said they would do in terms of user stories, they can't get it done. Stacy believes that the next step would be to do a sprint retrospective. She explains to the team why sprint retrospective is important, why continuous improvement is important, why growth mindset is important, why we need to fix this impediment in order to maximize value, in order to produce valuable software for the customer. But the team is too busy. They don't want to do a sprint retrospective. They don't care about improvement. They don't really care about fixing this issue. According to the latest version of the Scrum Guide, Stacy is accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness. Stacy is accountable and responsible to ensure that the Scrum team does the sprint retrospective and all the other Scrum events. If a team is not doing sprint retrospectives, it's her fault, and she should be punished and shamed because of this. Do you feel that is fair? Stacy doesn't have any authority on the team. She can't force the team to do a sprint retrospective. She's a servant leader here to support, coach, teach the team, serve the team. In Agile, in Scrum, teams are self-managed. They decide what to build, how to build it, who builds it, and by when to build it. They decide how they want to use Agile, how they want to put the practices in place, how they want to use the Scrum framework. You can't force them to do that. How can we say now that the Scrum Master, who doesn't have any power over the team, can't force the team to do anything, is accountable for the Scrum team's effectiveness? Does this sound fair to you? Let's say the team doesn't do daily scrums. They don't do sprint retrospectives. They do sprint reviews every 2 sprints. They don't commit on any sprint goal in the sprint planning. All these Scrum practices, they're not interested in doing that. They don't want to follow the Scrum framework, and the Scrum Master is accountable. Even though the Scrum Master, she doesn't have any control over the decision-making power of the team. She's a part of the team, a member in the team. She doesn't control what needs to be done in the team. The team is self-managed. They decide together. It's not the Scrum Master deciding for the team. Accountability only works when the person has control over the decision. Then it would work, but the team is self-managed. It's not fair. So what should we do? Well, there's 2 main options. First, allow the Scrum Master to make decisions for the team to meet her accountabilities. She should be able to control the decisions of the team. But this goes against one of the core concepts of Scrum. The Scrum Master is a leader who serves a self-managing team. The team is not self-managed if a single person is making all the decisions. That's command and control. That's not self-management. The second option would be to remove this accountability and responsibility from a single person to the whole team, from a single role to the whole team. The whole team should be responsible for the effectiveness of the team. We are all in the same boat, going into a direction, going to the promised land together. We should be all responsible for the effectiveness of the team, as we are all responsible to build this potentially shippable increment by the end of a sprint. But if the Scrum Master is not accountable for the effectiveness of the team, what is the Scrum Master accountable for? Well, supporting the team and promoting Scrum. This is exactly what a Scrum Master should be doing every single day with the team, every single day with the organization, selling Scrum, selling Agile, selling this improvement mindset, this growth mindset, this self-management, promoting Agile practices, the Scrum framework, the Agile manifesto, and also serving the team, helping them identify impediments, ensure that they don't ignore impediments, help them resolve these impediments, help them improve their processes, the way they communicate together, the way they work, help them maximize value. Each one of the roles, help everyone in the team, support the team, serve the team as a leader. And the Scrum Master can be accountable for all that. We can rephrase what's in the Scrum Guide. Instead of a Scrum Master is accountable for the effectiveness of the Scrum team, the Scrum Master is now accountable for encouraging the effective use of Scrum by the Scrum team. She has full control on that, encouraging the effective use. How does she do it? By encouraging practices, by encouraging them to do the sprint retrospective, by telling them why we need to do that, what's in it for them, by making observations, by helping the team or encouraging the team to make observations, all the things that she has control on. Now, if the team doesn't decide to use Scrum, they don't really care about improvement and all that. At least the Scrum Master tried. She still met her accountability because accountability was about encouraging the team. Now, let's talk about a counter argument. I think we can all agree that it's hard to be a Scrum Master. The role of a Scrum Master, hard thing to do. We don't have power to make people do things. But still, we are responsible, accountable for everything that happens, at least the effectiveness of a team as per the latest version of the Scrum Guide. It's not fair. Yeah, it's not fair. But so what? A farmer has his crops wiped out completely by the rain, by the wind. No control whatsoever about what happened. But still, the farmer is accountable. It's his farm. He's responsible for the farm. A coach can do everything possible. A soccer coach to help the team, serve the team, give strategies to the team. But at the end of the day, it's the players that will play. And it's the players that will decide if the team will win or not. A project manager responsible for the budget, for the timeline, for the requirements, for everything. And they often don't have control on all these things. But they are responsible and accountable. Is it fair? No, it's not fair. But who cares about you? Sometimes life isn't fair. But what do you think? Leave down a comment. Do you feel that the Scrum Master should be accountable and responsible for the effectiveness of a Scrum team? Leave down a comment. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile, Scrum, personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now. And I'll see you in a few seconds.